Hello students, in this video I'll be explaining about a computation of early start, late start, early finish, total float, head event slack, tail event slack, free float and independent floats. So we will see how to compute these terms for a given network analysis problem. Now here I've taken a problem. As you all can see, this is the data given to us. Now column 1 talks about the activities, and the second column, that is duration column, talks about the amount of time required for each and every activity. So here like you can see, 1 to 2 activity requires 4 hours, 1 to 3 activity requires 12 hours, 1 to 4 activity requires 10 hours, 2 to 4 activity requires 8 hours, and so on. Now when you are asked to compute these terms, how first thing that you all need to do is to draw the network diagram. So first thing you need to do is to draw the network diagram. First you will let us draw the network diagram and fill this particular space, that is the values of these terms for each and every activity. Let's begin. So first we will draw the network diagram, and one important thing that you need to follow while drawing the network diagram is whenever you represent, so let's say for example 1 to 2 is an event, right? Oh sorry, 1 to 2 is an activity. Let's say A is an activity, 1 to 2 is an activity. Now you will not be representing like this an activity. Instead you will be representing like this. I'll show like this. Okay, you will represent 1 to 2 activity like this. So with three portions, as you all can see, this portion talks about the event number, and the below two portions talk about early start and late finish of that particular event. Even this two portions below two talk about the early start and late finish of event number 2, and this is how we should draw while this is what we need to follow while drawing network diagram. Okay, so let's begin from activity number 1. So let's go to the column. Now 1 to 2 is an activity, right? As you all can see in the data, 1 to 2 is an activity. Now let's represent 1 to 2. I'll start from here. So let me use a bigger circle so that it will be easy for us to fill the portions later. So let me use a bigger portion. So this is event number 1. So 1 to 2 is an activity. So I'm writing 1 to 2. Okay, so next is what we have 3 to 4. So 1 to 2's duration is what? 4 hours. I'll write the duration along the arrow like this. Now then we have 1 to 3 second activity. So 1 to 3 I'll write here. So 1 to 3 I'll write here. Okay, so 1 to 3 I'm writing here. So 1 to 3, this is activity number 3, and 12 hours is the duration of this for this particular activity. So I'm writing 12 along the arrow. Now we have 1 to 4, the second activity. So 1 to 4 I'll write here 1 to 4. So this is activity event number 4. 1 to 4 is this activity. What is the duration for this activity? Go to the data and see, that is 10. So let's write 10 along the arrow. Now what is the next activity? So we have 2 to 4 as the next activity. So we just have to connect 2 and 4 are already there. We just need to connect 2 and 4, that is from 2 to 4, arrow towards 4. Okay, and what is the duration for 1 to 4, sorry 2 to 4? It is 8 hours. So I'm writing 8 along the arrow. Then what do we have? 2 to 5. So we have 2 to 5. So I'll write 2 to 5 here. 2 to 5, what is the duration for 2 to 5? It is 6. So I'll write 6 along the arrow. Then we have 3 to 6. So where do we have? So 3 to 6 I'll write here. 3 to 6. 3 to 6. What is the duration for 3 to 6? It is 8 hours. So let's write 8 along the arrow. And then what do we have? We have 4 to 6. So 4 and 6 are already there. We just need to connect them in proper direction. So 4 to 6, and what is the duration for 4 to 6? 10 hours. So let's write 10 along the arrow. Then we have 5 to 7. So 5 to 7. Okay, 5 to 7. And what is the duration for 5 to 7? 10 hours. So let's write 10 along the arrow. And then we have 6 to 7. So 6 to 7, and 6 to 7 is a dummy. Please look at the data. It clearly says it's a dummy activity, and dummy activities are represented using dotted line always. This, I hope you remember this. So dummy activity, no, 6 to 7, because it says dummy. And what is the amount, what is the duration for this dummy activity? 6 to 7, 0. So let's write 0 along the arrow. Then we have 6 to 8. So 6 to 8, I'll write here 6 to 8. Okay, now 6 to 8, what is the duration? 8 hours. So let me write 8 along this arrow. And then finally we have 7 to 8. So 7 and 8 are already there, we just need to connect them in proper direction. Now 7 to 8 we have connected, and what is the duration? As per the data, it is 10 hours. Final one, 8 to 9. So 8 to 9, let me go downwards. So 8 to 9, let me write here. Okay, this is 9. What is the duration for this last activity? That is 6. So this is how we draw a network diagram when you are asked to calculate early start, late finish, late start, early finish, total float, and so on. This is how you need to draw. Every event will have 3 portions. One portion will talk about the event numbers. The remaining 2 portions will talk about early start and late finish of each and every event. Let's name them. So let me write one. I'll name early start. Okay, and this portion is late finish. So this is early start and this is late finish. Okay, so similarly we have early start and late finish. So early start and late finish. Okay, so let me write off otherwise. Early start and late finish. And we have early start here, ES and LF. Then ES and late finish. So here we have ES and this is late finish. Okay, so early start and late finish for each and every active event. So after this, what are we supposed to do? Now we are supposed to fill these portions, that is early start and late finish of each and every event. So how are we supposed to fill? So to fill this, we need to follow a procedure. The first one is forward pass. Forward pass, and this is used to fill early start of all the events Okay, so we will use forward pass to fill early starts of all the events. As you all can see, every event has early start, so we need to fill the early starts of all the events. And how are we supposed to fill? So to fill this, we will be following a procedure called forward pass. Now I'll explain how this forward pass works. Now, so let's begin with the first event, that is event number 1. So early start will always start with 0. Remember, we always start with 0. Okay, now so early start, you start with 0 plus 4. Okay, 0 plus 4 gives us 4. So we write 4 in the next event. So we'll write 4. 0 plus 4 gives us 4. 0 plus 4 gives us 4. Then we have to follow 4 plus 8. Here you can either go in this path or this direction, because there are 2 paths. Okay, so 4 plus 8 gives us what? 12, right? And can we write 12 directly? 4 plus 8 gives us 12 here. We can't write 12 because there is another arrow entering the same event. So this event is called what? Merge events. What do you mean by merge event? Event is called a merge event if and only if it has more than one activity or more than one arrow entering it. So if an event is called merge event, if it has more than one arrow entering the event. Okay, so event which has more than one activity or arrows entering, then such events are called merge event. So this is an example for merge event, and where here we have another example for merge event. So this is another merge event. This is a merge event, and here we have another merge event. So 4, 6 and 7 are 7 and 8, these are merge events because there are two arrows entering 4, there are two arrows entering 6, there are two arrows entering 7, there are two arrows entering 8. So only at these events are called merge events. Now at merge events, we will always pick the maximum value. Now here, let me explain how it works. So 0 plus 4, we got 4, and then 4 plus 8, we get 12. So let us keep the number 12 on hold. Now let's see the other path. Let's see what other path gives us. 0 plus 10 gives us 10. Now this path, this arrow gives us 10, this arrow gives us 12. Now this arrow gives us 10 and this arrow gives us 12. Now which value we are supposed to fill in this particular place? That is, we will be choosing the maximum value. Now this gives us 12, this gives us 10. So 10 and 12, we have to choose the maximum value. So the maximum value is 12. So we will be writing 12 here. So we pick the maximum value at merge events. Okay, now let's continue the process. So okay, so we are here. So we got 12 here. Let's proceed. 12 plus 10 is what? 22. Now again, this is a merge event. So 12 plus 10 gives us 22, and let's see what this path gives us. Now let's start filling this. Now 0 plus 12 gives us 12, and then now we have 12 plus 8 gives us 20. Now this arrow gives us 20, this arrow gives us 22. What are we supposed to pick? Which value we are supposed to pick now? So this path gives us 20 because 12 plus 8 gives us 20. 12 plus 10 gives us 22. We are supposed to pick the highest value, right? So we will be writing 22, the highest value at merge event, because 6 is a merge event. Now let's proceed. Now here, yeah, so let's, okay, now 22 plus 0 gives us what? In this direction, that is 22 plus 0 gives us 22 itself. Now this particular arrow gives us 22 to this particular location, position or a portion. Now let's see what this particular arrow gives. Again, this is a merge event. Now we have 4 plus 6 gives us 10. So let's write 4 plus 6 gives us 10 here, and then we have 10 plus 10 gives us 20. Now you see here 10 plus 10 gives us 20, and this 22 plus 0 gives us 22. Now 20 and 22, so we will be picking the highest value, so we write 22. Okay. Yeah, now so we write 22, the highest value. Let's proceed. 22 plus 10 gives us what? 32. So 22 plus 10 gives us 32 here. 22 plus 10 gives us 32. Now this path gives us 32. Then we have 22 plus 8 gives us 30. So there are two paths. One path gives us 30, one path gives us 32. So this gives us 30, this gives us 32. We will be picking the highest one because it is a merge event. So we will write 32, early start. Then finally 32 plus 6 will be 38. So this is how we fill early starts of all the events by using forward pass. And when you apply forward pass, you will encounter only merge events, and at merge events you will be choosing the highest value. Remember, when you apply forward pass, you will encounter merge events at few points. When you encounter a merge event, then you at merge event you need to pick the maximum value and fill the early start of that merge event. That's what we followed, and we got the early starts of all the events. Now to fill the late finish of all the activity, now we will be applying another procedure that is called backward pass. So how does this work? This is to fill late finish, LF, of all the events. Okay, so this is to fill the late finish of all the events. Now let's see how this particular procedure works. Now this is exactly the opposite of forward pass. So we started with the starting event. Now here for backward pass we will start with the ending event, and I'll explain the procedure. Now so we start with ending event, that is 9. So 38, write 38 as it is. Okay, this is 38 minus 6, reverse process, no? So I 38, so subtraction will come into picture. So 38 minus 6, and that will give us what? 38 minus 6 gives us 32. So fill the late finish. So this gives us 32. Okay, then we'll take this 32. So let me just scroll it up. Yeah, so 32 minus 10 gives us what? 32 minus 10 gives us 22. So let's write 22 here. Okay, now 32 minus 8 gives us what? 24. Here this particular path gives us 24. Now there is another path here, right? Now this event is called, this is a burst event. Why? Because what do you mean by burst event? An event is called a burst event if and only if no, there are more than one arrow coming out from that particular event. Now there are more than one, right? There are two arrows coming out from this 6. Hence 6 is a burst. Burst means coming out. So there are more than one arrow coming out from this particular event. Hence this 6 is a burst event. Now whenever you apply backward pass, when you go in the reverse direction, you will encounter only burst events. Now when you encounter burst events, which value we are supposed to pick? Let's see. Now 32 minus 8 gives us 24. This gives us 24. Now 22 minus 0 gives us 22 itself. Now this gives us 24, this gives us 22. Okay, so this gives us 24, this gives us 22. Which value we are supposed to pick? We are supposed to pick the minimum value now. Exactly the reverse process of forward pass. So we will be picking the least value. So 24 and 22, least is 22. So if we fill this portion using the least number. Okay, now we will continue. Now we will 22 minus 10 gives us what? 22 minus 10 gives us 12. So let's write the 12 here. Then we have 12 minus 6 gives us 6. So can we write 6 directly here? No. Why? Because there is another path here. So this is again a burst event. Why? From 2, there are two arrows coming out. You see here this arrow and this arrow. These two arrows are coming out from 2. Hence 2 is a burst event. Now we need to keep this number on hold. 12 minus 6 gives us 6. Let's keep this 6 on hold. Let's see what this path gives us. And then we pick the minimum. Now, so 22 minus 10. You see here minus 10 gives us what? 22 minus 10 gives us 12. So let's write 12. Okay. Now 12 minus 8 gives us what? 4. Right? Let me repeat. 12 minus 8 gives us 4. Now this arrow gives us 4 and this arrow is giving us 6 because 12 minus 6 gives us 6. Now this gives us 6. This gives us 4. So we are supposed to pick the least. So we'll write 4 because 4 is the least. Now here we have 22. 22 minus 8 gives us what? 22 minus 8 gives us 14. So let's write 14 here as it is. Then we have, okay, we're almost done. Only the first event's late finish we have to fill. Now look at this. 14 minus 12 gives us what? 2. 12 minus 10 gives us what? 2. 4 minus 4 gives us what? 0. So this path gives us 2 difference. This path gives us 2. This path gives us 0. So 0, 2 and 2. Least value is 0. So we write 0 here. This is how we fill what? The late finish of every event by using backward pass. Now what happens when you apply backward pass? When you apply backward pass, you will encounter burst events. At burst events, you should keep the number on hold and later you need to pick the minimum value and fill the late finish using the minimum value. And that's what we have done in this diagram. Now, this is how we fill early start and late finish of all the events. Now, yeah. So now we are supposed to fill this particular table. I'll explain how to. Okay, now as you all can see, activity and duration we have. Now we need to fill this particular early start, this particular column, then this. So we'll see one by one. Now what do you mean by early start? Now to fill this particular column for each and every activity. Now to find early start, you see 1 to 2 is an activity. As you all can see, 1 to 2 is an activity. So for 1 to 2, what will be the early start? Now, whenever you are talking about early start, you should always target the starting event of activity. Which is the starting event of 1 to 2? 1 is the starting event. 1 to 3, 1 is the starting event. 1 to 4, 1 is the starting event. 2 to 4, 1 is the starting event of the activity. 2 to 5, 2 is the starting event of the activity. Let's see here. See, 1 to 2 is this activity. What is the starting event of 1 to 2? 1. Basically the tail. The starting part is this. So whenever you have asked to fill early start of an activity, you should always go by the starting event of activity and catch hold of the early start. Now this will be the early start of activity 1. Let's see. So 1 to 2, early start of 1 to 2 will be what? Go to event number 1 and pick the early start. That's it. I repeat, if you are asked to find the early start, 1 to 2 is an activity. Now to fill early start of this 1 to 2 activity, go to the starting event and pick early start from this starting event. Now where is starting event? 1 is the starting event of 1 to 2. What is the early start of 1? You see here this box 0. So let's write 0. Okay, so let me put an arrow and put 0. Okay, now we have 1 to 3 again, the second activity. Even for second activity, 1 itself is the starting event. Now when you go to 1, go back to 1. So 1 to 3 is where? 1 to 3 is here. Now where is the starting event of 1 to 3? 1 itself. 1's early start is 0. So that will also be 0. So even the third one, 1 to 4, 0 is again. So 1 is again the starting event of 1 to 4. So early start of 1, we already know it is 0. Now let's go to the second one. The fourth activity, 2 to 4. Now 2 to 4 is the fourth activity. What is the starting event? 2. 2's early start is what? 2 is here. 2's early start is 4. So let's write 4 there. Now again 2 to 5, 2 is again the starting event. So 2's early start will be 4 itself. Now again we go to 3 to 6. Basically what you have to do here is you need to check only this part. See, I am highlighting it. This part you need to check. So go to these active events, check, get the early start. So that is nothing but early start of 1, 0, early start of 1, 0, early start of 1, 0, early start of 2, 4, early start of 2, 4, early start of 3. So go to 3 and get early start. That's it. So 3's early start is 12. Okay, so let's write 12. So 12. Similarly 4's early start is, let's go to the table, that is 12. And we have 5's early start, that is 10. And dummy activities, that is 6 early start is 22. Then we have 6 again 22. Then 7's early start is 22. And 8's early start is 32. Okay, this is what you get. This is 2. Okay, so 1, 0, 0, 2 is 4, 3 is 12. Let's check once. 3 is 12, correct. Then 4 is 12. Then 5 is, where is 5? 5 is 10. Perfect. 6 is 22 and 22. Yeah, 2, 6 we have. 7 we have 22. 8 we have 32. Okay. So, and yeah, so this is what we get. Okay. So what did we do? We picked only the starting events and we found the corresponding early start. Okay. So we picked only the starting event and we found the corresponding early start from the events. Now for late finish, you will go by this. For late finish, you will go by the ending event of every activity and get the late finish of every ending event of each activity. So 1 to 2 ends at 2. So 2's late start is, you go to 2, where is late finish? So late finish is 4. So we will write 4 there. Okay, so let me write 4. Then 1 to 3, 3 is late finish. 3's late finish is 14. Okay, then we have 4. 4's late finish is 12. Then again we have 4, so 12. So we have 5 late finished, 5 is 12. Then 6 late finishes 22. 22. Again 6 we have, so 22. 7's late finishes 22. Again 22 because 7 ending. 8's late finishes 32. See, 8's late finishes 32. Again 32, and last one is 38. 9's late finishes 38. Now this is how we fill. How did we get this? I'll repeat. So to find the late finish, you go by the ending events of every activity. Now go to that event, get the late finish of that event. That's all. Okay. See, 2's late finish is 4. 3's late finish is 14 from the diagram. Okay. See, 14 is here. 3's late finish, like that. Now coming to late start, early finish. So we are almost done. So with the diagram part. Now, how do we get this late start? Now you start late only, you finish late only if you start late, right? You finish late only if you start late. Now late finish minus duration gives you late start. I repeat, late finish minus duration gives you late start. So let us write that. I repeat, it is late finish minus duration gives you late start. Let's begin. So let me highlight so that you will know. So now this is this one minus this one. Okay, so duration minus late finish. Let's fill. So 4 minus 4, 0. Then we have 14 minus 12, 2. 12 minus 10, 2. 12 minus 8, 4. 12 minus 6, 6. 22 minus 8, 14. 14. 22 minus 10, 12. 22 minus 10, 12. 22 minus 0, 22. Because dummy is 0, no? 22, 32 minus, 32 minus 8. 32 minus 8 is 24. Then we have 32 minus 10, 22. Then 38 minus 6, 32. Okay. So how did we get this? So late finish minus duration gives us this late start. Okay. Remember that. Let me erase this golden lines. Yeah. So we have filled late start also. Okay, so we filled late start also. Now early finish. Now when do you say you finish an activity early? Only when you start an activity early. So early start plus time gives you early finish. I repeat, early start plus time gives you early finish. So basically you need to add these two columns. Okay, so these two columns, just add and you get numbers. So that is 4 plus 0 is 4. Then 12 plus 0 is 12. 10 plus 0 is 10. 8 plus 4 is 12. 6 plus 4 is 10. 8 plus 12 is 20. Then 10 plus 12 is 22. Then 10 plus 10 is 20. Then 0 plus 22 is 22 itself. 8 plus 22 is 30. Then we have 22 plus 10 is 32. 32 plus 6 is 38. And this is what you get when you add these two columns for late finish. Early start plus duration gives you late finish. Now we have total float. Simple. Total float is very easy. Now you can either, basically it is the difference between early start and late start. You can either go with this late start minus early start gives you total float. You can either go with this method, late start minus early start, or late finish minus early finish. Anything, it's up to you. Early start minus early start, late start minus early start, or late finish minus early finish. Anything, it's up to you. Now I will go with late start minus early start. So to do that, let me use a highlighter so that you will know. So I am subtracting this column, that is golden color column, and this. Okay. Now So basically this minus this, that gives us total float. Let's fill 4 minus 0, 4. Oh, sorry, excuse me. 0 minus 0, 0. Then 2 minus 0, 2. 2 minus 0, 2. 4 minus 4, 0. 6 minus 4, 2. 14 minus 12, 2. 12 minus 12, 0. 12 minus 10, 2. 22 minus 22, 0. 24 minus 22, 2. 22 minus 22, 0. 32 minus 32, 0. Let's cross check again. So 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 2 minus 0, 2. 4 minus 4, 0. 6 minus 4, 2. 14 minus 12, 2. 12 minus 12, 0. Then 12 minus 10, 2. 22 minus 22, 0. 24 minus 22, 2. 22 minus 22, 0. 32 minus 32, 0. Perfect. So this is how we, so I subtracted two golden color columns, LS and ES. So when you do that, you get total float. That is basically this minus this gives you total float. So let us erase this. Yeah, good. Now we have to find head event slack. Now the name itself says something to do with head event. What do you mean by tail event? Now I'll just show you. If 1 to 2 is an activity like this, what do you mean by head event? Head event is the one which is near that arrow. Okay, so this is arrow, right? The head of the arrow. So this is the ending event. Now this is starting event. So this is tail. The starting is called tail, ending is called head event. Okay, because why head event? Because arrow is here, right? And this is the head of the arrow, and the one which is next to the head of the arrow, that event is called head event. The tail event is the starting event. Okay, this is tail event, this is head event. Now I hope you got to know what head events and tail events are. Now what do you mean by slack? Tail event slack and head event slack. Now for head event slack, so let's go to the, now what are heads of the activity? Now what are head? These are head, isn't it? These are called head events of all the activities. Now what are tail events? These are called tail events of all the activities. Starting events are called tail event, ending events are called head events, the one next to the head of the arrow. Okay, these are head events. Okay, now let's start with head events and then tail events. So first we'll start with head events. So these are head events of activities because these are near the head of the arrow's head. So these are head events. Now for only these events we need to find the slack. What do you mean by slack? Slack is basically this late finish minus early start of that event. Remember, late finish minus early start. Let's do this for every head event. Now what is the first head event? What is the first head event? First head event is 2. Okay, so because this is the first head event, that is 2. So let's go to 2. So here is my 2. Now what is slack? 4 minus 4, basically the difference of this. You will, that is late finish minus early start. Late finish minus early start. Late finish minus early start, that gives you slack of 2. So 2, we went to event number 2. Slack is nothing but 4, late finish minus early start. So that gives you 4 minus 4, that gives you 0. So let's write 0. Now what is the next head event? 3. 3 is the for second activity. So let's go to 3. See, 3 is here. What is slack? 14 is late finish minus 12. 14 minus 12 is LF minus ES, gives you 2. So 2 is the slack. 2 is the slack. Now we'll go to 4. Where is 4? 4 is here. 12 minus 12 is 0. Now again we have 4 for the next activity. So that is 4, as you can see 4 here. Now we've seen 4 slack already, so we'll write 0 itself because 0 anyway it's the same. So we already have the slack of 4, so that will be same. Next is what? We have event number 5. So event 5 was, so this is the event. Okay, this is the event. 12 minus 10, See, event for 5, 12 minus 10, that is 2. So 2 is the event, and then we have a 6 as the event, ending event, that is head event. 6 is nothing but 22 minus 22, 22 minus 22, 0. Then again 6 we have, so 0 itself. Then what is 7? 7's head event, this is head event. Slack is 22 minus 22, so it's going to be 0 again. So 7, 0. And the next we also have 7, so again 0. 8 slack is 32 minus 32, that gives us 0. Then again 32 minus 32, that is 0, because 8 and 8. Then finally we have 9. Let's go to 9. 9 is again 38 minus 38, that also gives us 0. Okay. So let me write properly. All these values are 0. Let me write it properly. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 and 0. Okay. And now whatever we did for head event, we will do the same thing for tail events. Now what do you mean by tail event? Basically these events. Let me go to the activity table. See here, these events are called tail events. Now for these tail events, same procedure we need to apply. We will apply the same procedure. So we have 1 as the tail event, 1 again, 2, 2, 3 and so on. Now we will go to 1 first and find the slack. Now where is 1? 1 is here. 0 minus 0, because LF minus ES. 0 minus 0 is 0 itself. So let's write 0. Now again we have 1 as the tail, so 0 itself will be the answer. Again 1 as the tail event, 0 itself will be the answer. Now let's go to 2. Fourth one, 2 is the tail event, so here we have 2. 4 minus 4, late finish minus early start. 4 minus 4, that gives us 0. So let me write 0. Then again 2 we have as the tail event, so again 0 it will be. Then finally next we have 3. 3, where is 3? 3 is here. So 3 is late slack is what? 14 minus 12, that gives us 2. 14 minus 12, that gives us 2. Then we have 4. 4 is 12 minus 12, that gives us 0. Okay, let me write this properly. 2 and 0. 2 and 0. Then we have 5. 5 is 12 minus 10, that gives us 2. Then we have 6. 6 is nothing but 22 minus 22. See here, 22 minus 22, so 0. Again we have 6, so 22 minus 22, 0. We have 7, again 7 is 22 minus 22, 0. We have 8, 32 minus 32, that is also 0. See here, 8 is 32 minus 32. So we have found out the tail events, that is tail event slack for all the tail events Now we have to calculate free float. Now how do we get this free float? Now let me write the formula for free float. Free float is equal to total float minus head event slack. This is the formula for free float. Now total float minus head event slack. Where is total float? Let me see, this is the total float column. So this is the total float column, okay, minus head event slack. Where is head event slack? This column. Now we will be subtracting TF, HS from TF. So basically this minus this, total float minus head event slack will give you free float. This particular, I repeat, total float minus head event slack will give you free float. Now let's find that. So easy, because they are next to each other. So 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 2, 2, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 0, 0. 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus 0, 0. Let's cross check before we finalize. Now 0 minus 0, 0. Done. 2 minus 2, 0. Done. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 0 2, 0 minus 0 0. So everything is correct. Now we've got free float also. Let me erase these columns because we don't need this. So let me erase. Now finally the last one, that is independent float. Now how do we get this independent float? Now for independent float the formula is if is equal to free float, the one which we calculated just now, minus tail event slack, TS. Okay, that is basically free float column this column and tail event slack. I hope you all are getting it. So free float, see here, free float minus tail event slack. So free float minus tail, FF, that is free float minus TS, gives you this difference, gives you independent float. Let's begin. So okay, so FF, that is 0 minus 0 0, 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 0 2, because F free float minus TS it is. Okay, so 0 2 minus 0, second column minus first column it is. Okay, so 0, we get 0 here, we get 0 0 again, 0 2 minus 2 0, 0 minus 0, then again 2, then 0 and 0. So these are the values that we get. Let's cross check once. So 0 minus 0 0, 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 0 2, 0 minus 0 0, 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 2 0, 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 2 0, 0 minus 0 0, 2 minus 0 is 2, and finally 0 and 0. So this is how we calculate early start, late finish, late start, early finish, total float, head event slack, tail event slack, free float and independent floats for all the activities given in the problem. So I hope you all have understood. Okay, so this is how we calculate. Using, first you need to draw the network diagram in this manner, and then you need to fill early starts and late finish of all the events using forward and backward pass, and at merge and burst events you should apply the proper procedure, and then after doing that you need to fill the table early start, late finish, and you get the final answer. So thank you.